Some places have a way of getting under your skin. You visit once, you think you understand them, and then you go back and realize you only scratched the surface. Akwa Ibom was that place for me. The first time I came here, I made a video that a lot of you watched. I showed you the beaches, the warmth, the food, the people. And the response I got told me one thing very clearly. You wanted more. So I came back. And what I found this time, in the corners, in the communities, in the stories that don't make it onto the tourism posters, genuinely shocked me. Akwa Ibom is a state that rewards patience. The obvious things, Ibeno Beach, Ibom Tropicana, the golf resort, they are genuinely beautiful. But they're also the things every visitor sees. They're the front page. What I want to take you to today is everything behind that front page. The chapters of Akwa Ibom that don't have billboards. The places the locals love and the tourists miss. The stories that have been here for 2,000 years, quietly waiting for someone to pay attention. We're going to cover 5 things today that I guarantee most people watching this, including people who were born in Akwa Ibom, have never seen properly documented on video. We start in Uyo itself, the capital city. Most people who come to Uyo see the roads, the hotels, the government buildings. Almost nobody finds this: the Blue River. It sits minutes from the city center, tucked behind a curtain of dense green vegetation that makes it feel like you've stepped into a different world. The water is still. It's a deep, unusual blue-green color that photographers will immediately recognize as extraordinary. There's almost no sound except birds and the occasional soft ripple of the current. What makes the Blue River special isn't just its beauty, it's the fact that it exists at all. A completely serene, untouched river meters from a busy state capital in one of Nigeria's most populated regions. In most parts of the world, this would be a national park. There would be entrance fees and tour buses. Here, it just exists, quietly, waiting. That is Akwa Ibom in a single image. Now we travel to Oron, a coastal town about 60 kilometers from Uyo. Quiet, unhurried, and home to something that stopped me completely in my tracks: the Oron Museum. This building holds one of the finest collections of ancestral carvings in all of Nigeria. Over 800 Ekpu figures, tall, slender wooden sculptures that the Oron people carved as memorials to their ancestors. Some of these figures are over 200 years old. A few are believed to date back even further. What makes the Oron Museum significant is not just what's inside it, it's what almost happened to it. During the Nigerian Civil War, a significant portion of the collection was looted and destroyed. What remains today is a fraction of what existed, and yet it is still breathtaking. Standing in this museum, looking at these figures, you feel the weight of something very old and very human. These are not museum pieces in the usual sense. To the Oron people, each Ekpu figure represents a specific ancestor, a real person whose memory was carved into wood so that they would not be forgotten. In Akwa Ibom, even the wood remembers. Now, if you want to understand Akwa Ibom's soul, you need to understand its relationship with water. This is a state with a 129-kilometer coastline. Its rivers define its communities, its food, its rhythms, its entire way of life. And there's one festival that captures all of that in a single extraordinary event: the Mbre Mmong. Held twice a year in Sit Ubiom, this is an aquatic festival unlike anything in Nigeria. It features traditional boat regattas, communities racing decorated canoes down the river in a display of maritime skill that has been passed down for generations. There are fishing competitions using traditional techniques, cultural displays, music that rolls across the water, and the communal spirit that feels ancient and alive at the same time. What's striking about the Mbre Mmong isn't that it's performed for tourists. It never has been. This is a community celebrating itself, its history, its waterways, its ancestors who navigated these exact rivers long before any outsider arrived. Attending it as a visitor feels less like tourism and more like being quietly invited into something real. And in a world full of manufactured experiences, that is increasingly rare. The next stop takes us to something entirely different: Ikot Ekpene, a city in northern Akwa Ibom known by one name across Nigeria and across the continent, Raffia City. Ikot Ekpene is Nigeria's undisputed capital of raffia craft. The city has been producing raffia goods, baskets, bags, furniture, decorative items for hundreds of years, long before it was exported, long before it appeared in boutique shops in Lagos or Abuja or London. Walking through Ikot Ekpene's markets is a sensory experience unlike any other in Nigeria. Every stall, every workshop, every roadside table carries the smell of fresh raffia and the sight of something being made by hand. You watch a craftsperson take raw palm fiber and with nothing but time and skill, turn it into something beautiful and functional. There's an economic story here too. Ikot Ekpene's raffia industry supports thousands of families across Akwa Ibom. It's one of the few creative industries in Nigeria that is entirely locally owned, locally made, and locally controlled. No foreign investment, no corporate chain, just generational skill and community craft. In a country that sells its raw materials abroad and imports back the finished product, Raffia City is a quiet, dignified exception. And then there's the thing that made you watch the first video, the thing that made people share it, the thing that introduced most of you to Akwa Ibom in the first place, Ibeno Beach. But I want to tell you the full story this time, because even the people who've been to Ibeno Beach don't always know what they're standing on. Ibeno Beach stretches for 45 kilometers along the Atlantic coastline. It is not just one of the longest beaches in West Africa. Depending on which measurement you use, it is the longest. 45 kilometers of unbroken Atlantic coastline, most of it completely undeveloped, completely wild, completely free. The beach is the home territory of the Ibeno people, a fishing community whose entire culture, identity, and livelihood is built on this coastline. To them, this isn't a tourist attraction. This is home. The same Atlantic that their grandparents' fished from, the same sand their children play on. What strikes you most about the Ibeno Beach isn't the length of the beach, it's the silence. You can walk for 20 minutes in one direction and see not one single building, not one tourist structure, not one sign telling you where you are. Just the Atlantic Ocean doing what it's always done. Akwa Ibom is not trying to be the Maldives. It doesn't need to be. It's already something the Maldives can't be. Real. I've now visited Akwa Ibom twice. I've spoken to locals who have lived here their entire lives and still discovered things on this trip they hadn't seen before. And I think that says something important. We live in a world that is very good at showing us the same places, the same landmarks, the same 12 cities over and over again. We've been trained to believe that beauty is located in a few well-documented places, and that everything else is secondary. Akwa Ibom is a direct argument against that idea. Here is a place where the beaches run longer than the eye can see, where 2,000-year-old carvings sit in a quiet coastal museum, where a river of impossible blue hides minutes from a capital city, where a whole city has built its identity around the art of making things by hand, and almost nobody outside Nigeria knows about it. That is not a failure of Akwa Ibom. That is a failure of the world to pay attention. We're paying attention now.